Hi everyone, I'm Alexander Fleiss. I'm the CEO of rebellionresearch.com. I was really not great at communication and verbal skills and terrible time making friends. And so I had a natural inclination towards working with computer code. And in fact, I built my first video game when I was 13 years old. And I programmed. So I always felt very comfortable. Just yesterday I was at NYU Krantz School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, and I was giving a talk, and they said, besides math, what were your favorite subjects? I said, none. I hated all of the other subjects because, having hearing difficulties and being someone who was deaf for most of his life, language was always a big barrier for me. So history, English, French, really anything that wasn't numerically based, I really did not enjoy it. It was painful for me, whereas math was a lot of fun. So that's actually why I've gotten into teaching it, because I really just enjoy working with numbers. It's a great time. But so I first programmed when I was 14 years old, and I became enthralled with artificial intelligence when I was really from the very beginning, well before I first programmed. I've always felt that the technology that has the greatest potential growth was artificial intelligence. I felt that there were just obvious barriers for everything from semiconductors to nanotechnology, whereas I thought to myself, machine learning, that seems to be a technology I don't have to worry about, horse carting. And my whole life I've always been a very, OCD stressed person. And so I was always worried about studying something that would become obsolete. It was always something I'd worried about. So I felt the machine learning was the one place, and I started studying it actually before I even got into college. When I was about 17 is when I first started learning about it on my own. And then at college, I immediately started taking courses on it, and I was immediately drawn to it. I mean, now as I approach nearly 40 years old, I can barely remember the teenage version of myself, but the one thing we have in common was the constant pursuit of wanting to learn more. And so that's kind of my theme in life, and what I always try to tell people. Better mic? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, way better mic. And so for me, it's a never-ending quest for knowledge, and I say till the last second I have my last breath, I will be on a quest for knowledge. And Rebellion Research, started off in a math class back in 2004 on a snowy winter's day. I stayed late from an AI class with my math professor at Amherst College, and I was talking to her. I said, Tanya, we really got to do something with AI. Nobody's doing anything with AI. You're a professor, get you on board. We'll get VC funding, and we just need to get a genius guy. And she's like, well, we have this fantastic student who's actually in your class. I don't know why you haven't talked to him, but I don't know if everyone knows Flint, Michigan, the water crisis, Bowling for Columbine with Michael Moore. Well, my business partner was born in Flint, Michigan, and I remember, when we first landed our first financing, I said, okay, where do you want me to put you up? We're gonna, get you corporate housing, like fantastic, the works, it's gonna be great. He's like, no, don't be crazy, Alex. Like, save our money. I grew up in a dumpster. Just anything on top of a dumpster, it's, that's growth. And so let's keep it there. And so, that's also something that I try to consider in life, is always humility. I don't think you can stress humility enough, And then, of course, my third tier, which is giving back. Charitable endeavors, I think, is something that everyone must consider and participate in. I think it keeps you grounded, and I think it reminds you of what's important in life. Otherwise, you're going to get too caught up in the small stuff, money, status, keeping up with the Joneses. Is it painfully awkward sometimes to go to a soup kitchen? Yeah. Is it hard? Sure, but it's definitely helpful. But getting back to my business, we started no idea what we were doing. We're just building AI systems. I brought my professor, who was the chair of the math department at Amherst College. I had her on the board. I had this super brilliant Flint, Michigan kid. And then actually I found my other partner, who's really fantastic, super brilliant PhD from Columbia Engineering in AI, and had been working with the NSA. And he actually was creating. So with my original professor and the Flint, Michigan guy, we were doing simple AI systems. But the last partner is kind of who brought us to the level that made our company what our company is. So does everyone know the difference between machine learning and AI? Or does anyone know the difference between machine learning and AI? Machine learning and AI, so AI is just anything. So a dishwasher is probably the most utilized version of AI on the planet. Because AI is just a machine that can follow a smart set of orders. That's all AI is. And so people say, oh, the AI asset manager. It's kind of very simplistic. Because machine learning is actually code that continually adapts. People say teaches. Yes, it does. It learns. It sees where it makes mistakes. It sees where it has better performance. And it's constantly reassessing its future decisions, i.e. learning, getting smarter. And so what we built was machine learning. With my professor, we could only do AI systems, very complex AI systems, k-means clustering, really good stuff. But this Columbia PhD, who was at the NSA, really brought things to the next level. He had been working on machine learning for smart document search. And so if the CIA wanted to find unknown unknowns, they would use this technology. What does that mean? So terrorist subject ABC plays soccer in one league, and terrorist subject CDE plays soccer in that same league, and then this unknown is in that league, and that same unknown is in an apartment complex with two known terrorists. And so all of a sudden, this unknown becomes a known unknown through my partner's technology. And so we couldn't use that version since that version was owned by the government, but we built a very similar version, to be honest. And actually, for a further round of financing for the investor group, to prove how versatile our machine learning was, we adapted it for a dating app. We made a pretend dating app fueled by our machine learning that would learn your physical preferences. And so, you would be given 100 faces, and we'd give you had a rating system. And so our system would see what you liked, and then it would learn the ideal match for you. And so, we had this investor, we gave him, and then from this other random pool, we picked out a girl who said, well, our machine learning says you would like her. And he goes, well, you know what? Okay, I think I'll invest. We could have just picked any pretty girl, but nevertheless, machine learning is really just nothing more than a learning software. It can learn what type of groceries you want to buy. It can learn where you're going to hail your cab. It can learn what time you want to use the subway or time you want to get on the elevator to go to lunch. So it's very useful for many mundane tasks. And also, before I get further, I think that there's a lot of hype with robotic technology, machine learning. It's a lot slower than we think, unfortunately. Also, driverless technology is going to be a little slower, sadly, than people estimate. It's a little bit of a bubble there. A lot of horizontal application of AI is what you're going to see in machine learning, where getting back to the mundane tasks, many of the simpler things. And so also just to quickly address job loss, because that's something that's constantly brought up. Throughout the history of time, one thing has always happened with technological innovation. There have been more and more higher paying jobs in more comfortable settings, i.e. more and more cushy situations, from dusty coal mills to getting Fridays off at a Silicon Valley firm I talk to because they all go windsurfing. That's, progression. That's obviously an extreme. But the point is that people say, oh, what about the Uber drivers? Most Uber drivers I talk to are not, Uber is a stepping stone. They don't want to be an Uber driver. They want to be an Uber driver to be a Minnesota Twins pitcher, or be an Uber driver to be a quant researcher for me. So they will get other stepping stones. And what happens is wealth is then created. Something that also is, because socialism is in politics, I have to bring it up. What makes capitalism great and America great is that wealth comes out of nowhere. So, Zoom.com, I do a lot of podcasts. Zoom.com is huge. And that was an immigrant from China, couldn't speak English 3 years ago. Created the wealth for him, created the wealth for his shareholders, created the wealth for the US government, created the wealth for his local government. Wealth was created out of nowhere. And so that's the beauty of the capitalist system, is that anyone can have a good idea and go with it. And as we get richer and richer, and there's more and more capital, anyone with an idea can find someone to finance that idea. And even if they fail for many, many, many times, they can continually try. So, with our business, we pivoted several times. One, we started as a research firm, which actually we still do. But then we pivoted to a hedge fund, which we still do as well. And then we pivoted a third time to a global robo-advisory, which really kind of blasted us off. And so, we still do all three lines of business, but it was our third line of business that made us the firm we are today. And I would never in a million years have ever thought that a robo-advisory would have been my future. It's really fun how the world can throw things at you. And at this point now, I spend so much of my time giving back. In addition to teaching, I started an internship program at Rebellion Research. We had 29 interns last summer, 27 interns the summer before. This fall we have 8 interns. This winter we're going to have another 10 interns. So the intern program is really just to try to help really smart kids, motivated kids move further, and help get them jobs afterwards. If we want to hire them, great. Otherwise, work very hard to get them jobs. So, also feel free to friend me on LinkedIn. I'm very friendly, very chatty. I'll answer anything. I love to chew the fat. I grew up in a pre-political time where one of my best friends, Mike Simmons, was a speechwriter for Barack Obama, and another one of my good friends, Jed Doty, was a Trump general counsel. And you could have these two guys, one Obama guy and a Trump guy, getting together and being friends, and they still are friends. And they laugh about all the anger, all of this partisan anger, and it's a terrible thing that we have partisan anger, because we just love everybody. And that's something else I've also learned too. As time has gone on, I've become less of a shark. I'm not as obsessed with making the extra dollar. I found that if you give people a chance and you're less focused on the dollars tend to actually roll in more over time. So, really just focus on. Well, I love to bring it back to Sean Parker, because Sean Parker, I remember when he had the fight with Zuckerberg's partner that he eventually locked out, the guy who went to Singapore. I can't remember his name, but Eduardo Saverin. Anyway, so when Sean Parker and Eduardo Saverin had a butting of heads over online ads, Sean Parker's point was, we're focused on creating the best possible product. If we create the best possible product, final outcome will be everything we want and more. And we're not ready to have ads because we don't have the best possible product yet. And so that's kind of another of my mantras. I'm always focused on the best possible product. And so actually, funny enough, Sean Parker works with Peter Thiel, who stole my Flint, Michigan guy. We're really good friends. I'm actually like a godfather was one of his children. But anyway, Peter Thiel came in and was like, I want to run $1 billion for me. And he's like, oh. So anyway, but I can't blame him. Yeah. Keep going, or can I take any questions? No? Okay, yeah, question? Yeah.
So I'm interested in AI as well, and AI for development.
Yeah.
My understanding of artificial intelligence was it passes the Turing test, right? As in, a human can't tell whether
Yes, that's actually a great point. Deep fakes. Deep fakes are something that we've done a lot of research on. Deep fake technology, something if you want to go check us out at rebellionresearch.com, you'll see our research. And deep fakes are a very, very frightening thing. They can take one picture, high-res picture, and create an entire video now at this point. Entire video. So if somebody wanted to really F with you, they could get a video, send it to some girl, I'm just saying, imagine the possibilities. Imagine the possibilities. And so there's going to be a whole industry now of AIs built to detect the frauds, because it's too hard to detect the frauds with a human eye. It's really annoying, but yeah, it's too hard. Will AI be the death of us? I think what will happen eventually, there's a very high likelihood that maybe a poor rogue country, maybe 50 to 100 years, lets an AI machine learning system run its nuclear weapons, but it's poorly built, and that poorly built system launches by mistake. Hopefully by then missile defense will be pretty good. In fact, actually, I was with a client of mine who is one of the program directors for MIT Lincoln Labs. Lincoln Labs is probably the most elite research group. It's the MIT research wing. And he was telling me right now, actually, because MIT has a huge contract for missile defense. They're actually designing it all. And he was telling me that we're 6 out of 7 right now. So for every 7 missiles we send up, we hit the Chinese, Russian, North Korean missile 6 out of 7 times. And I said, oh, that's pretty good. What about the 7th time? He goes, oh, we'll just send up 100 missiles, so whatever happens in reality. So that's the plan for whatever it's worth there. But anyway, so rebellionresearch.com, the Global Robo-Advisor, Schwab, Betterment, and Wealthfront. And what we've done is offer a very similar product, but with our machine learning powering the portfolios so that there's a significant amount of outperformance, plus it's very tax efficient. It's a system that likes to hold stocks for long periods of time and sell stocks that don't do well quickly. And so generally you lose money, you sell the stock, you make money, you keep the stock. And so it's much more tax efficient than an SPY, the spider. If you hold the spider, you make money. Once you sell it, you take your tax. And so, this year Rebellion's up, maybe 2 or 3 points out of the S&P, like it usually is, usually between 2, 3, 4 points. But, it's generating, about 10% tax loss because of selling stocks a month. And so it's a very efficient system. And the machine learning has learned to be efficient. So the tax loss is actually another interesting thing, where the system decides after the loss is high enough in the client's account, do I take the loss here and then find another stock very similar that I have no loss on? If I have a loss on AMD, why not sell it and buy NXPI if the odds are that NXPI and AMD will move similarly, because we will or will not buy more semiconductors in the next 3 months, and if we buy fewer, they'll both go down. We buy more, they both go up. It doesn't just work like that, of course. NXPI can miss the quarter and AMD make the quarter. But the way we view it is very Ocean's 11. The house always wins. And if the house always wins, no individual trade can ever have any high conviction. Because any individual trade, 40% chance of losing, which is something also very important. The machine learning realizes that it has a 40% chance of losing on any given trade. So it's extremely diversified. Do you guys want me to finish up? Awesome. A lot of fun. You guys are the best. Friend me on LinkedIn. Ask me any questions. rebellionresearch.com. Thank you.